tower of bottom lane and the inner tower of mid lane.
Ooh, we're starting to see some of that damage. The Ardent Sensor, along with the Bioarcane Barrage from LWX, chipping Mystic away. But again, that's just to pull the time, just to pull the attention of Newbie. As red buff taken away by Xie and Kandi. Every single thing on the map that they can take, they are.
But that's a cannon wave on the bottom side. It's going to take a long time to clear, so they're going straight mid.
Oh, he got the hook, Ben. Follows it up the Flake Cocoon. Do they have enough burst? There goes a huge ultimate from Swift. Trying to find Kandi, and Mystic again.
Oh, no.
He wants the reset. Ooh, but he's saved by Crisp. Wild growth as Mystic flashes in and pays the price.
Who brought the Lulu in that fight? Mystic is outraged. He goes straight in once again, and he finds himself in not a very gentlemanly duel. So yeah, very sad from him. Chris came out, saved Coco, and it was definitely necessary. They're bouncing back.
Yeah, now we see the counter siege from Newbie on the far side, but there's a lot of crowd control and some pretty good wave clear from that volatile Spiderling and the Corki. Red buff being stolen away by Sky, but 957 sees this and just scares him back. And still, WE, they're trying to accelerate the pace of this game, but we see what happens when they make a mistake.
Exactly, and remember this is a very fragile composition that WE have, so even though they've been dictating the pace, they're still only 1k gold lead. They only have 1k gold in the advantage outside.
Yeah.
So for them to be in this position, if they get cut off in the tempo that they have, it is so much more impactful than newbies, because once they start hitting their item breakpoints, Runan Hurricane is close to being built from LWX. He's gotten to a point where he can actually just start rapid firing on Kandi if he makes a mistake off of 957 once he makes a mistake, because there are no true tanks on the side of WE, so Kog'Maw is going to be able to obliterate them pretty easily. They just cannot make a mistake time and time again because the teamfight strength from Newbie is there.
And that threat is so terrifying. 20 minutes into the game, Baron is up. I see you making a face, Raz. What do you got?
There are 2 Ardent Sensors on my screen. WE doesn't have an Ardent Sensor. Coco built a second Ardent Sensor, Dom.
He's stacking up, maybe? Double investment? So does that... It does. It's a unique buff.
It is
right?
definitely unique.
Does he just want to make sure he has 100% uptime on LWX then?
Yes.
Okay. That's what we'll go with.
That's 60.
Because the Runons is finished.
Yes. So, I mean, if you didn't believe that LWX is the person to focus on before.
It's certainly the person now,
We are legitimately, literally doubling down on him.
Oh, man. All chips on Kog'Maw right now. Can Newbie get him to late game, or will WE be able to get the kill? You can see Xie, he's going towards the one-hit Corki. He actually goes for Static Shiv for some additional AoE burst. It's certainly going to be difficult, but now 70 seconds before that Mountain Dragon is up. Baron has spawned, and we can see WE trying to clear out some of the vision from Newbie, perhaps baiting them into a fight, but Newbie might be ready to answer back.
Yeah, this is good from Newbie because they do have a composition. Oh, you know what, LWX. Okay now, relax now. But they have a composition.
Ooh, the Cocoon misses, Kandi has to go up. A ward on top of the Lantern. He flashes the other direction. Swift chases him back. Stun plus the follow-up from Sky, and Kandi will die to Sky. Meanwhile, 957 forced to flash away from the Kog'Maw. This fight is going from bad to worse as it's another kill for Newbie.
Baron's up, Dom, and the jungler's down on WE. They're going to go straight for it.
Mystic has to step back out onto the map. They're going to try to call the bluff and push the minion wave, but it's so far. 5 members of Newbie turn onto the Baron, and it seems like WE are content. They're not calling the bluff. They're just trading. They know they can't get involved in this.
Thankfully for them, it's a cannon wave, so they can take down the turret based off this pressure, and that's the only bit of trading that they can do here.
And just like that, the mid-tier 2 falls, and Baron is picked up by Newbie. 22 minutes in the game. WE did not want to let a late game happen with Newbie's composition. Well, now they might not have a choice.
Yeah, that's the sad state of what the comp is for them. The fact that Newbie just had to wait for their items break points, and we're talking all that good stuff about WE, you know, bouncing between mid, bouncing between bot, but that was because it was needed with the comp that they had. Now they have to be a lot more focused towards these trades, towards the dragons that they do have, having triple dragon. Having that Elder Dragon when it does spawn is going to be all the more important. Infernal Dragon is going to be the next one. For them, the game is a lot more linear because they cannot take team fights. They have to take these picks, and they have to take these dragons.
Well, Newbie the other way around. They're content to just take the objectives in front of them. The mid-tier 1 is broken down. Their first turret of the match as LWX steps forward, absolutely fearless. and starts chipping away the health at that turret. You can see the gold between the two teams. Mystic is still 1,000 gold ahead of the Kog'Maw, but because of the build priorities out of both Coco and Crisp, LWX is still participating in this. We're still seeing a big advantage for Sky in the top lane, which is why you see him right now. He's about 1,300 gold ahead of 957.
Yes.
And he's become a threat in his own right.
That's why usually when you see these kind of linear early game pick compositions, their late game investment, get out of there, Mystic, would be in a lane, it would be in that 1v1 on the top side of the map. But Jarvan does not lend you that. He's going to be losing to Sky. So not only do Newbie win in an outright team fight, but in a split push scenario as well.
Oh, this is a huge play from LWX, sidestepping, moving in and forward under the turret. You have no minions. Back up, flash away or something. He still gets the kill because his team follows in the teleport as Mystic is forced to jump off. There goes the ultimates, the living artillery, but Sky just flashed the wall and that will cause Swift to die. And suddenly he's got to walk back through, turns it around, gets the slam in. Condi is dead at the cost of his own life, but LWX is on fire, baby. He chases Xie and Mystic back and breaks down this inhibitor with that 22-minute Baron.
Yeah, only 2 carries from WE up, and you have 2 Ardent Sensors available here from Newbie. So it's going to be a very easy inhibitor. Right now, Newbie are taking way more than WE would want.
Yeah. I don't think they could possibly have expected this Kog'Maw to be relevant so early considering the path, but he just steps in.
Ben got tired of this nonsense. He goes straight on top of LWX. And he took a lot of damage, but there's just not enough burst coming out on the side of WE. And this is when WE just outright lose. CA has to back at some point. He can't fully commit to these fights. So once Sky sees the opportunity, just kills the spider. That's all you need to do. So for a newbie, it's getting a lot easier, but here
that
comes the
TP. That is a really deep teleport. Up from Xie 957. Swift sees them. He doesn't have the ultimate, though. They're looking for LWX. They know he doesn't have ulti. Coco is dead. Xie kites it out as 957 eats the stun, leaps in. Mystic follows up, and the Kog'Maw is dead. Mystic continues to chase as they will try to push back onto the map, but they've only got a limited amount of time as super minions are pushing in mid.
Yeah, this is when we needed WE to be creative about how they make plays on the map. Well, they found a pick. Thankfully, Newbie are taking it back. You know, they said, okay, we lost 20 seconds of our game because Coco and LWX are down. Lose these turrets, we can fight for another day.
There's so much investment onto that Kog'Maw. The moment he's gone, WE can just shove forward. They might look for an inhibitor here. It's 10 seconds before LWX gets back up, and Newbie know that. They have to let the turret go, but the inhib will remain.
There we go. WE was smart in recognizing that they could not deal with that. Oh, no.
That's a really deep teleport. Are we about to see the same play backwards?
Yes, we are.
Swift has got his ultimate. They see Coco is there. He gets the soul into Mystic. Swift, ooh, looks for Mystic, but doesn't find him. A great Dark Passage saves the AD carry. And though they will be slowed and harassed, they make their way back to base. Again, this is stalling time. Super minions are banging on the front door, but nobody's home.
Yeah, so I wonder if it's going to be enough to take it down because WE needs to get back to base the old-fashioned way. I think this should be enough. No, it's not.
So close.
All right.
First Nexus turret down. Newbie are halfway there to getting that Nexus down and taking game number 1. This would be a huge upset. They're putting all of their chips onto LWX, and he just keeps on rolling the dice.
That's why Newbie need to calm it down, need to relax a little bit more because they know that they have that late. They know that they have, honestly, they have the game right now. Triple item onto Kog'Maw with the Guinsoo's Rage Blade. He can take them on if he has the full 5-man support. So right now, Newbie, relax. They don't want to find themselves in another situation like as they did before, because if that happens once more with the inhibitor down on the bottom side of the map, then that would be very costly. You lose that inhib, it's going to be much harder to defend for the next Baron.
Which is coming up in only 2 minutes. Mystic tries to cancel an auto attack. Seems like he gets a few folks, but LWX will be able to defend top. There is a tier 2 being pushed in by 957 on the other side, and blue buff being stolen. So still, WE, despite the fact that they lost an inhib and almost got collapsed upon, they continue to move around the map and take everything that they can. This team is relentless.
It's going to be hard for them. They know their limits, so that's why they should recognize that they can't really start up any trades or rushing Baron.
Unless they know it's a pick.
But that's, yeah, exactly. So if they can find a pick, then that's okay, but they don't have the tank lineup. If you look towards 957, Black Cleaver, not Titanic yet, so if they start up on Baron, they're getting shredded by that.
Especially when there's a Kog'Maw on the Rift with double Ardent Sensor.
Yeah, so that would be great for Newbie to come in for a team fight if they do find themselves starting that off. So WE are in a position where they have to fully commit to picks. They have to fully commit to these Q TP plays. We know their TP's coming up very soon. Essentially, that's what they need.
Well, it's 30 seconds before the Infernal Dragon spawns, and if they get it fast enough, they could roll the dice for one more Elemental and perhaps stall an Elder, but that might not be part of the plan. They've already got 3 so far. This Infernal would be a 4th, so they could try to roll for a 5th Elemental, or they could let it cycle over to a faster Elder to get them into the game. We'll see if that's going to be the case, because it looks like Newbie are ready to fight them for it, as they are moving forward as a 5-man unit.
Okay, I mean, they see this is happening.
LWX steps in, wards over the wall. Sky now spotted from the far side. They're sitting just outside, being so clever with their vision, but instead they decide to back away. They were looking for a pick, the same thing that you mentioned.
Yeah.
They didn't find it because Newbie played it safe, so they don't take any chances.
It's a little unfortunate for WE. They were getting there. You even saw LWX take a little bit too far of a step near that ramp. But that opportunity didn't present itself. And what's unfortunate is with Baron coming up now, that opportunity, them not looking to take it, well, they're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah, it becomes a lot more risky because you know the team of Newbie will be more vigilant around this Baron in the case that there is a pick. 957 is splitting bottom. Sky is matching him. WE now push in mid lane to try to get some minion priority. But the Baron is up, and it is ready to fight.
And just taking a look at Newbie's item break points right now, you had the Luden's Echo on Coco, so he's going to be dealing a lot of damage off that. Just a lot of poke. If he can get his hand on to CA or Mystic, that's going to be very important for the fight. But also Gargoyle Stoneplate on Swift. So Warmog's Gargoyles, he's going to be the focal point of the engage. W's on it.
Look at the damage that they're doing. They shred it down so
actually
fast. They don't even care about the blue trinket. Swift steps in, tags the stun onto Xie. And now this is going to be Newbie turning back around towards the mid lane. Just superior vision. There was nothing Newbie could do.
Yeah, I mean, they recognized that they didn't have the War Spirit, but they needed to be diligent about it. They need to be disciplined, recognize that they need to be in that part of the map. There's nothing on the bot side of the map. For them to not even be in the area to basically pounce on that opportunity, it's unfortunate coming out of Newbie.
Swift now, maybe perhaps biting off a bit too much more than he could chew. Righteous Glory used as Ben tries to get Condi in there to help catch up. And they steal away the Wolf Camp instead of the blue buff, and they do not get to push all the way to the inhibitor. So WE, though they find themselves with a squishier composition, now have got the Baron buff. They're back in the driver's seat in this game. And Rest, take a look at the gold. It is dead even between these two teams. One of them rocking a late game Kog'Maw, one of them with Tristana and Corki. This is going to be a spicy one.
It is. That's why now I'm going to be looking towards Sky to see how does that fight start.
The Gnar.
Exactly, because Newbie's been getting a little bit frustrated in the fight not really panning out. They've been throwing Sejuani ultis. A few of them have been missing, but when it does hit, there's no follow-up for it to happen. If they can get Sky at a decent flank position, it doesn't even necessarily have to be a Mega Gnar, just to slow them down and for them to focus onto him, that could be a good starting point for Newbie to start walking forward with LWX.
Well, now we've got double teleport from WE in that top lane with 3 members of WE on the other side of the map. They need to juggle their resources perfectly to match this because the Tristana breaks turret so quick. Look at the damage! Half health with a single minion wave. And Xie 957 bring that next wave in top.
Yeah, very patient. It should go to them unless if Newbie brings 2 or 3 members up here. But even if they do that, suddenly then the inhibitor is going to be a primary focus for WE.
Yeah, the tier 2 is broken. Even more of the map is now in WE's grasp. But at the very least, that means Newbie don't have to rotate quite as far. Swift is looking for a pick.
Yeah, they don't see him. Good use of course, W of Condi, just to see if they can get any bit of vision on him. Mystic.
Ooh, steps forward. Swift tries to follow up the slow. Rocket jump to get to safety, but Ben gets left behind. And those who get left behind fall to their deaths when that Kog'Maw chases them down.
Yeah, this is how frustrating it is, because they get a pick onto Ben. They slow them down because Frozen Mallet is there for LWX, but they can't follow it up because 957 and Xie are still dealing too much damage to this tower. So it's getting frustrated.
Now they know that Swift has no ultimate, and it's up to LWX to step forward and threaten WE back with his damage. And just like that, Mystic, oh, he is so confident on the Tristana. Is that enough?
No.
Ooh,
okay.
close.
No minions around, so that was probably
a
difference maker here. And Ben is just speeding up these minions as well with the Baron buff. So this one should go down.
Slowly but surely, Newbie, like you said, this is unsustainable. They are just losing health here, a little bit there. The top inhibitor goes down. Mystic ready to break another. The cannon minion gets the final shot to knock it down. Baron is only 15 seconds left, but that is 3 inhibitors. Still standing, but bare.
There's just so much tension in this game. Newbie know they can win a team fight if they can find it. And WE is not letting it happen. If they slip up once, then the game is over because of how, or at least how open that Nexus is. One inhib in the mid lane, one Nexus turret still open and up for WE. So WE cannot afford to make a mistake.
And take a look at this. LWX on your screen right now went for 4th item, Frozen Mallet. Don't you hate it when enemies run away from you?
I hate it.
Well, have I got the item for you?
Oh, sell me on it.
It's a Frozen Mallet. You hit them, it slows them down.
Oh!
And then you're sped up by the Lulu, you're sped up by the Karma, you just run them right down.
Why doesn't everyone build it?
I'm not actually sure.
Because it doesn't have much AD. But
Well,
I mean,
that's the one. He's
but
Kog'Maw with double Ardent Sensor.
Exactly. So at the moment, he already has a lot of attack speed. And of course, Frozen Mallet's nice for the mix of survivability. Because, you know, we saw how close he was getting bursted down by Tristana, Corki, a lot of crit on the side of WE. But also, yeah, it's a nice snowballing element. If Swift starts the fight, Sky starts the fight, they can chase him down. It's a good purchase.
Yeah, and we're still seeing big advantages for WE in gold as well. While it's only 4,000 that separate the teams, Xie alone is 4,000 gold ahead of Coco. Mystic is about 1,600 ahead of LWX. The only disadvantage that WE have for themselves in gold is 957, but he's doing such a great job in these team fights that it doesn't seem to matter. Mountain Dragon's up in 6 seconds. Newbie shoving down the mid lane to try to pull WE out of position, but they've got the Dark Passage. They've already got the recall from Corki. Might be coming in from the side.
Yeah, this is going to be hard. That's why Newbie's bouncing out here because, of course, Corki has his package. But honestly, the carries of WE are far too strong. Tristana has gotten Bloodthirster. She's already finished her full build.
6 items, yeah.
Exactly. Corki's gotten to near full build, still needs to get towards the Merc Scimitar. So if they get picked off, just one of them, WE's backline can obliterate any one of their carries. Even Swift is not secure here, not having much resistances just yet.
You just saw Newbie showing that, hey, they watched the EU LCS too, setting up the old Fnatic brush. But nobody from WE takes the bait. They move in around the places where they have vision, sweep out where they don't. And Xie, he's on the side. Coco, that didn't hit him.
At the very least, he didn't walk up to the wave because that not hitting is pretty impactful. Coco is now going to believe that no one's in that bush. But thankfully, he still plays it safe.
And now we do see the Mountain Dragon being picked up. Like you said, WE, they make a single mistake. They could very well lose the game. They end up taking it slow. They take it patient once they lose vision. And they come up with the Mountain Dragon as Newbie are forced to back away and deal with their side waves.
All right, so next one's going to be Elder, but Baron will be coming up in 47 seconds. Newbie should look to set up for it. The only way they can do that is by pushing up top lane and mid lane. Mid lane's in a decent position. They've already pushed up the cannon wave. Top lane still needs some love. That's why they're sending Karma up there. They need to do it quickly so they can walk up for Baron, but WE's already gotten there first.
Sky, he's currently grouping with a team. He's got no rage whatsoever. That is a very happy and calm Gnar. There he goes. Now he's starting to get a little bit angry. But already, WE, like you said, they're setting up vision. They're starting to move their ward line forward. It's just they get there a few seconds faster. That double cloud is paying off in spades to set up all these wards. And you can see Ben, he's got 3 in his inventory, another 2 control wards from both Kandi and 957.
Well, this is interesting. So Newbie are trying to push this lane up through so they can try and bait a rush towards in-hit. They know that they can't do it. It's going to be about the Baron.
They go straight onto it. Look at the damage shred coming in from the side, but they back away. Again, they don't want to risk it. A lost fight. It could very well be a lost game 1.
And it's fully regen too. So that's going to be easy for Corki to walk up top, push out that wave, make it harder for Newbie to sustain this.
957 is backdooring Solid Snake, making his way in, but I think Sky might know as he's looping around the vision. This is actual ships in the night.
What is happening?
Okay, he gets up towards the minion wave. There are the pings. Kandi looks for a ward and eats some harass from LWX. There's that Frozen Mallet we were talking about.
So he's pushing this one out. He can't walk with the wave, but he can actually challenge for position.
Ooh, that's a big amount of damage onto Sky. And again, Newbie, they have a little bit of time that they can play with here. Is the Cocoon lands onto that Sejuani.
And I wonder if they just start the Baron now. Because you're challenging Sky, who doesn't have much rage bar, gotten chunked down in HP a little bit. I don't think he can get to Mega Gnar anytime soon.
Now they see each other. They just wave at
Okay.
as LWX steps in. There's the stun, as that's a rocket jump, and that's going to be Ben dead. It's up to Xie and Mystic, but their support is gone. 957 is still on the side, but LWX turns to the Baron, pings onto the inhibitor right now, but there's going to be enhanced recall. They turn back around, perhaps looking to catch them on the way out. Condi with the blast cone leaps in as Newbie pull away. Teleport from Xie as he tries to get in. Valk's back, and that's Meganor for Sky. Mystic kites it out onto Swift, knocked up midair by the wild growth. He's still alive and is firing as much as he can. He gets the kill and gets the reset. Look at the health that he's getting back.
Newbie.
And 957 on the other side. WE, I cannot believe that they are winning this fight. A man down and out of position. Oh, no ace, but it might as well be because it's 1 versus 4.
And look at how big that wave is. They're TPing right on top of it.
And WE racing into the Nexus. Crisp is going to complete his recall to try to hold on to this, but there's nothing that a single Lulu can do, a lonely support in a dangerous world. And WE break it down. Game number 1.
And look how intense that game was. It should have been newbies. They had the items to take the fight. Unfortunately, just not better communication at the end of the day.
And that communication, that team play from WE, what they have prided themselves on throughout the entire 27 year, allows them to take game number 1. Just moving around that much faster, moving as a collective unit, pulling Newbie apart and forcing them to make difficult decisions. And now, joining us here on the desk to help break down what we just saw, a huge game number 1, is Frosco. Welcome back.
Dom, you said at the very beginning of the game, you said, call the grandma, wake her up, get the meatloaf, because that was incredible League of Legends. If you weren't watching the end of the game, if you just saw that, if you spammed Fiesta, you are wrong. That was incredible. WE are the best team, and they just showed why.
That was fun. I mean, immediately just seeing how far behind they were in terms of composition, and they just outplayed Newbie in that position of the game, where quite honestly that should have been Newbie's game to play. So great from them.
Yeah. The team play to pull apart a double Ardent Sensor Kog'Maw with 4 items and maneuver Newbie so that they could find that piecemeal fight, pulling Swift away. And look at the damage that they did. The Tristana almost matched that Kog'Maw.
A tale of 2 AD carries. I gave high compliments to LWX, but unfortunately, he's looking down the barrel at Mystic, who is the best AD carry performing in the league right now, and that is high praise when we still have the likes of Uzi to be seen in the semifinals.
Yeah, we've already seen Mystic flash forward during the regular season. Now we're proud enough to get the chance to show it to you during playoffs. Once he's able to do it and pick off a solo kill. A second time he gets punished, but his positioning in those team fights was exceptional. I cannot believe that he survived Swift diving him on that last fight.
And it wasn't just the dive. I believe it was the wild growth that interrupted his rocket jump as he tried to reposition himself. And the fact that he's still able to kite it out and win that fight from a numbers deficit, that was the only reason they won. Mystic making incredible plays, but when you're in a champion, you're entitled to do so.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like they needed to play that much better just because of how the comp shaped up for them, right? The Thresh.
Better? They won the game, Ross!
What do you mean? I'm just saying they needed to do that because their composition was falling flat as a gun. They already made those mistakes, and Newbie was just able to push out forward, challenge them on many fights, especially towards the Baron fight. That should have been a Newbie win based off the composition and being able to take the mistakes that WE made to get to that point, but WE played that much better.
And I agree with that, but it was really only one mistake because of Newbie's composition. How, I'm not going to call it cheese, but just abusing the power spikes. You know, running double Ardent Sensor, very strong mid-game spike when you pair that with the Kog'Maw, you know, very cost-efficient itemization. We've seen multiple teams abuse that. You then also have the Sejuani on top of it, as well as a Karma. If you make a mistake in the mid-game against that team, you're going to get blown apart. And that's what Newbie did to get them so far ahead. But this is the fight that reminds everyone that Team WE are contenders, not just in the LPL title, but for Worlds.
And this is just a problem of terrain at the end of the day for Newbie, because Sejuani's on one side trying to force the fight onto Mystic. Mystic was so low at a point where he should have died, but Lulu, Karma, Kog'Maw, none of them can follow up. And sure, Nara's doing a great job at zoning out the rest of the team for basically just to focus down on Tristana. Tristana is able to deal with Sejana quite fine.
It was a fight on two fronts. I mean, we commend Mystic for being able to pull it off. Frosco, as you said, because he's a champion, he's entitled to getting away with effectively miracle plays. And he will be rewarded with the MVP from that, but he had the support of his team. Both Xie and Kandi on the back of that were kiting out another fight that we didn't even get to witness.
Because WE are good enough that when they make mistakes that they can fix it, that they can come back, that they're never down and they're never out. You need to play perfect League of Legends, not give them a single inch, or they will run over you.
And here's the thing, there's still more games to go from here.
Yeah.
Game 2, immediately my focus is going to be towards what newbies' focus is in early game, right? Because we saw them go up against what